All right, within this video here, I want to go through more specifically around the unfair exchange between the agency and as well the platform, and you being the one that's left out. Now, in this model here, I'm going to go through, as I said, the unfair exchange, but also explain a little bit more about a video that I created earlier on why the business cannot grow with the old approach. Now, I'm talking about the old approach with traditional forms of marketing, but also the old approach of bringing on board an agency owner who, I mean, if you look out anywhere and everywhere, you know, every man and their dog has an agency. Now, we've been in this space well before it became, a fad back in 2018. And the key thing here is to identify, number one, do you actually need an agency? Now, perhaps you might need an agency to kickstart things, but then over time, if you are looking to grow sustainably, or if you are looking to have an exit value with your business, then you need to bring that back in-house. There are so many times where businesses go out for evaluation and maybe they get conversations happening with their accountant and with their lawyer, but they realize the most important aspect of their business, sales, marketing, and advertising, I guess one of their most important, is outsourced. And if it's outsourced, it dramatically brings down the valuation because it's not in-house. If, say, for example, something were to happen with the agency and you don't leave amicably, then you've got a massive hole within the business still. So the goal here is to identify, probably speak, or at least explain a little bit more about how the unfair exchange actually works. But then more importantly, how you can actually take control back into the business simply because it's not as scary as what you think. There are so many people out there who, yes, have started their agency. And again, we were one of them back in 2018. But we've realized that every man and their dog who has an agency, it is so easy to jump in there and create it these days. Back then, there needed to be a lot of understanding, a lot of experience, and perhaps even a lot more, development around how things are moving to then continuously not only keep up with the evolution of social media, what platforms to use, how to actually create content that's engaging and also enticing. But the key thing here is if it's easy enough for these people to jump on and create their own agency, why can't you do that yourself for the business? So going into the fair exchange, we spoke about this in an earlier video, that you have yourselves, you're there. Then you've also got an agency and you've got the platform, and you want to be able to bridge that gap between you as the clients and all your ideal customers, ideal avatars, the entire market sitting on the biggest platform or on the biggest marketplace in the world, which is social media. If you're Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, even Twitter as an example, or X. So long are the days where you need that agency or that specific skill set to go and advertise online. When you look at how things are positioned, as the customer, you're engaging with that agency. Now, that agency should have that expertise and the results and as well the knowledge to get you and your product or your service in front of your market. However, when you look at it here, there is an unfair advantage to the agency and as well the platform. Now, if we look at this here, as the agency, they utilize the cash that you give them. So the agency get paid up front. Then they also use your accounts to further get insights and to further get data on how that marketing message or how that, whether it be a video or or an image, resonates with the market. So yes, they're iterating, yes, they're optimizing, but a lot of that knowledge is then kept with the agency. Now, if you look at from the other side, so let's say, for example, it's Meta or it could be YouTube. Now, they're getting continuous analytics as to what the market is resonating with. So they're constantly iterating, and they're also constantly gathering data to identify exactly what hits with that market, what hits with that demographic. But then also, okay, if we've got that information, then we can obviously charge the clients or obviously charge the agencies out there that are using our platforms. But as you can see here, you're the one down the bottom here who is funding it all. You're giving the cash to the agency to do the work, obviously. You're also giving the cash to the platforms to do the work, again, to have those ads in front of your market. Now, that data and that insight, or perhaps even that IP that you've been able to generate, well, not you, but the agency and the platform, you don't have any of that. That there stays with the agency. They get a lot better at what they do. The platforms also get a lot better at identifying their market. So these two company valuations go up, agency and as well platform. But you're over here. Now, granted, if you were to even get success through advertising, then you reap the benefits of the return on ad spend, whether it be selling more of your product and selling more of your services. But again, that IP that is used to identify exactly what it was isn't with you. Now, that's where our model here, the infrastructure injection, is to bring that back in-house, is to bring on board these specialists like the paid ad specialist that I spoke about in an early video, and as well the systems around it. Now, if you have complete control over it, then that IP stays with you. Not only with you, but within the business. So when you do go out there and eventually, evaluate the value or the success of the business in terms of, the financial gains, then that's a lot stronger, especially with someone who's coming in to purchase it. So what you want to do is to bring that back in-house. I'm not talking about, again, the old ways, which is newsletters, magazines, billboard ads. No, this is even further. The agency and as well the platform. Bring that back in-house, hire abroad, making sure that they're part of the company values, the company ethos, the company culture, and then bring them along the ride with you. Because if I go back to this image here, every man and their dog or every beginner is starting their own agency. Now, if it's easy for these guys to do that, why can't you do it yourself? Why can't you bring that in-house? It's not as difficult as what it's made out to be. And it's simply because the foundations or the fundamental understanding of how things work online, it could be completely cloudy for you. So the goal here again is just to make sure that you understand that it's not as hard, bring that back in-house, have full control, and then start to build upon that. Because again, agency and platform, that IP in between, you don't get any of that. And if you do get any of that, and that's something that we're quite big on with our clients, is that we build all the assets, the imagery, the videos, the ad accounts, the ad sets, everything under the company's control. So, in the event that we move on from our clients, they have full control. Everything that we do from the beginning, they've got full access to it, and essentially that's all there. So there were so many times where we onboard clients where a lot of the assets and a lot of the information was left with that agency. So again, you may have spent 12 months, 18 months, 24 months with them, but if you don't have access to the assets that you rightly own, then you're back at square one. So that there is that. Now, if I go back down to, and I've gone through that, let me go back up to here. So what we want to be able to do here is to build out a system that not only takes complete control of the marketing, the sales, and the advertising aspect of it, but we also want to be able to bring down the cost on what we're spending for agencies out there. Now, these agencies could range from anywhere between $1,000 a month up to even low five figures per month. Now, again, because every man and their dog has started their own agency, there's no real justification unless they've either proved the results, they're the experts within their niche or your niche. So again, the key thing here is to realize it may seem a bit too much to begin with, but please, if it's easy for these people to jump in there, these agency owners, these beginners, and really smash things out, why can't you do that for yourself? Now I'm going to go through here quickly just on not only the pillars that we spoke about in the previous videos, but just like how this all works. Now we have from an offer, what does that offer look like to the market? What is the things that have perhaps worked in the past that maybe you haven't had the time to reflect on and go, you know what, with bathroom renovations, what really worked for us to separate ourselves from the competition was giving away a free vanity sink or the value of up to $700, or if you gave a free skylight or whatever it may be. That these offers that you need to understand, or at least not understand, but also reflect and go, you know what, that worked. We had out of our 10 bathroom renovations, we had 7 of them take upon that offer or give us feedback to say that they went with us because of that offer. So understanding the offer is very important because it gives you that first leg in the door. Now there's a heap of other steps that need to be done after it, but at least you can get the attention of the market. That way you can go, oh, okay, cool. Now we have opportunity to further go through the sales process, but also do the work, do the reps to really understand, okay, I was really bad at doing bathroom renovation, consults, but after the 105th one that I've done, I've really honed in how we actually, how we do things in front of the customer, how important that customer service is, that first touch point is. So having the right offer gives you the opportunity to at least have that foot in the door. From there, we go into the online presence. Now, it's all good and well to have an offer out there to the market, whether it be organic or whether it be through paid, but you need to stay front and center. Now, a lot of the clients out there that we have generally do quite well, simply because they have some structure or they have some framework around how they can create content on a daily basis. So they've leveraged Instagram stories, Now, these stories only stay up there for about 24 hours, so they're able to really build out the narrative as to what they do on a day-to-day basis. So we have a client who is, starting to explore that, and quite understandably, quite. It just doesn't feel comfortable for them. But as they continue doing that, and as they continue to share not only the knowledge that they have around what they do day in, day out, but they're really building out the narrative and building out the story as to why they do what they do on the site. So that allows you to give your flavor out to those who are looking from the outside in. They may not be engaging with any of your content, they may not be liking it or commenting, but what they are doing is they're consuming. Now, every time they consume your stories, and every time they get a better understanding as to what you do on site, that builds that trust and builds that credibility to allow them to go, you know what, I'm going to go with Chris, or I'm going to go with Michael, and their bathroom renovation, simply because I've been able to consume enough content, and I resonate what they do, their professionalism, that I want to be able to take that next step with them. So that's how the online presence work. Now, once you've got that online presence situated, you've got the offer out, then you've got the ad in front of them. You want to be able to nurture them. Now, how do you nurture them? Now, you need to have the right platform that you're advertising on. You have the right offer and angle, but you also need to bring them in and leverage, what technology gives us. So CRM system and lead notification or lead nurturing sequence. So what happens when they come in after they ad, then after they've submitted their details? Are we staying front and center? Are we messaging them emailing them manually? Or can we put together a 3 to 5 part email sequence or a 3 to 5 part SMS sequence just to touch base with them? Now, there's a lot more, nuance or detail towards how you personalize this. But by doing that, not only frees you up from having to do these manual messages or even trying to keep up to date with what's happening, this can be automated, this can be systemized, and it can allow you to further focus on what you do best. And that's going out there, educating the market, allowing people to let you into your home or their home, and really share exactly how you can look after them from a renovation perspective. So that's the lead flow aspect of it. Now, once you've done that, we want to be able to scale. We want to be able to build that up. So it's all good and well to have one booked appointment a week, but if you can continuously have people have come into the pipeline, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and them only starting to commit to actually getting them or getting you out on site, there needs to be some process in place to do that. Now, once you've been able to do that and nurture them, then it comes to, okay, how do we set these appointments? Now, you can have these appointments set right up from the word go. So from the ad goes to a scheduling page, and from that scheduling page, it will then allow you to book at a time with the lead in your own time, that is. But how do we further build that trust? It's all good and well to do that on social media, but there's other ways that you can further build. Now, some of the conversations I have with business owners out there is that, why don't we do like a messenger sequence or a messenger bot? And I think one of the things that we forget is email is proven and it has been tested for many years, decades. So what we do is we utilize a very common communication tool called email, where we further connect with them, and most often not, people are very familiar with it. They may not speak so highly of it, but they definitely use it. So that's what we focus on when it comes to the appointment flows. So lead comes in, books an appointment, an SMS and as well an email is fired off as soon as they've put in that appointments, following up with that information. Also, what we have as well for our clients is as soon as that lead has been booked, they also get an SMS and an email stating that, hey, someone has booked into the system, here are their details, here is the questions that they've filled out, and then we give them either the process on to call them as soon as possible, or they fall into a what we call an appointment setter that we have. So again, depending on what systems you have, you can really build out not only the impressions or the first impressions that you have with these individuals, but again, if you've got your systems and your automations in place, and you've got another company who does the exact same work with you, but they follow up, 1 or 2 weeks after the fact, then you can tell that, hey, the one that takes action and that really builds that first impression, even if it's an automated SMS and text message acknowledging that they've come through, then that goes a long way for them to close that particular deal. So again, when it comes to deal flows, how do we position it? How do we build this out? And also, whilst we've been able to get a lot more information from them, how can we further, provide them with services and with products in terms of the upsell to make this really fruitful for them? So that there's within the deal flow, and anyone who's a little bit more seasoned when it comes to having these systems set up, they really start to leverage and utilize the upsell aspect of it, and as well the referrals deals too. So last but not least, we also have the ability or the capacity to not only help with bringing on board these new customers and these new leads, but we also have the ability to further look for talent. Now, we're talking about tradesmen here. We're talking about people who can fulfill the work. We have a client up in North and New South Wales who is currently building out his team as we speak. Now, he's already got the pipeline full with his deck and pergola company. Now, it's really how can we further scale and bring on board a lot more of these jobs whilst not failing on what's most important, especially when you're going out on site. And that's the customer experience. That's also the ability to keep that high level and high standard that he has. So we also help out with how can we find these tradesmen that resonate with our company ethos and our company culture. So that there is that set up here. So if there's anything else here. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go back into sort of the online presence, and also from like a funnel perspective, how does this look and what is done within this sort of system. So if you go over to a website, or if you'll say, for example, looking for a bathroom renovator to help out, when you have this system in place, this funnel, you'll have the before and after clips showcased as soon as they jump onto that page. Then also from there, you'll also have a case study where that case study goes through probably to the detail that is necessary to get someone to commit. So again, if you've got so many competitors out there in the market, how are you going to differentiate yourself? And that's usually within the case studies. Now, if you have a number of case studies that you can perhaps share, not only the results, but also how you've been able to handle situations where it may not have gone to plan. But if you're able to identify that and actually build that out in a video, or even if it's in written form, you can showcase exactly what it's like to have their bathroom renovation done with you. So while we focus on not necessarily the wins, because everyone else is showing their wins, but also what are some of the lessons, or what are some of the ways that, as an example, if a client says that they wanted their vanity sink, or they wanted their shower in a specific location, but because of what they've been able to identify upon the audit, or at least when they're doing the works, that it couldn't have happened, then you can further educate those people out there who are looking to go, what, maybe I should check that out. Maybe I should check if the plumbing is, or at least get someone out there to just double check on the plumbing underneath. So, there are so many benefits to having these case studies. And then off that, you can also look at, okay, once they've opted in, what else can we add value to? Let's give them a budgeting guide. Let's get them on site. Let's ask for the on-site appointments, or let's further add them to the lead nurturing process. So there are so many ways that you can nurture these leads, and perhaps this is giving you an insight as to what other businesses are out there doing and how they're continuously taking that market and building that moat around their business. And that's simply because they're staying front and center, they're adding value into that database that they have, and they're constantly building trust and credibility to, when the customer is ready to engage, there's no one else that they're going to compete with, because they've been further nurtured with these offerings here. So again, that's sort of an insight as to what would look quite, I think this would be quite normal, at least with businesses who are leveraging these systems here. But if you're not leveraging it, and if you're sort of looking from the outside in, going, what can I add to my business in 2024? Definitely be looking at something like this here. And also, from a content perspective, especially on Instagram stories, you can do, quizzes, you can do polls, you can do, just gather as much information as you can on what people, or at least what the market is looking for. So you can do something similar to this. So say, for example, if people are ready to renovate and they complete a quiz, they already pre-qualify themselves. You've done nothing other than just ask them the questions, and then they can go down the process that is systemized, where they can book an appointment or a time with you. So that there is the process in itself. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section. I think I've pretty much gone through the infrastructure injection model, and more importantly, what you need to be wary of when it comes to bringing on board an agency versus, hey, let's start to put these steps in place to bring the marketing back in-house.